Good morning. Pastor Brad here with our daily devotional out of the book of James. James 1:21 through 25 simply says this: "Hey, don't be a mere listener of the word, but be a doer." Do what the word says. Well, what does that look like? So James begins to tell us that now that this new birth that has been had by the word of truth, now that there's been salvation within our hearts that God gives us, that word now becomes implanted in us. It begins to be rooted within us. And because it's being rooted in us, the roots begin to bear fruit. It begins to grow and begins to mature and begins to become evident and begins to have fruit, the fruit of the Spirit in our lives. And so James says, here's what that looks like first is this: "Therefore, ridding yourselves of all moral filth and evil that is so prevalent." That is the language there is to rid yourself, is to take off, to rid oneself of the old clothes, to take off the old clothes that you've been wearing and to put on the new clothes or the new self. That now that you've been washed by the blood of Christ, that you are no longer your old self. You're now a new creation, as Paul would say. And that word is becoming implanted and rooted in you. And your life looks different because of the word of God that is now inside you. And he says that now then, we're to be doers of the word and not merely hearers. Oh, of course. We're to listen to the word and heed it and hear it and listen intently. But how do we know that we're truly listening? How do we know that we've truly heard? How do we know that we're heeding the word of God? Well, because our lives begin to reflect it. Because our lives begin to look different. Because we begin to do what it says. And that's exactly what James is pointing out here. And he actually uses that word doer at least 4 times in this passage. It is the point of this passage that if you are a Christian and the word of God is rooted in your heart, then your life will look different. You will begin to live it out. You'll begin to do what it says. James uses an illustration about someone who looks at a mirror and looks in that mirror and walks away and immediately forgets what kind of person he was. But the one who looks intently into the perfect law, preserves it or perseveres in it, and is not forgetful here, but is a doer of the words. The one who reads the Bible or listens to the Bible or knows the Bible, but their life doesn't reflect it, James says, is as if one is looking in the mirror, walks away, and immediately forgets what he looks at. But the one who looks intently, the one who wants to understand what it says, the one who loves the Word of God and is hungry and thirsty for righteousness, he is the one whose life will be reflected by the way that he lives out the Bible. It is this person then that is blessed. It says, James finishes this person will be blessed in all that he does. Hey Christian, let me ask you, how is it that you are living out the Word of God? How is it that the Word of God is taking root within you? James is just going to challenge us with this. He's about to give us examples of what it looks like, what true religion looks like, and what it means to live out the Christian faith. Those are in the next coming days. I hope you will see this and challenge and pray that God would help you apply the Word of God, not to only be a hearer of the Word, but to also be a doer. Hey, listen, church, we love you. We're praying for you. We'll see you in the morning.